Bo and Bubba show, Food and Football. I'm Al Bubba Baker, and my man Bo, he's busy with the Food Network. Of course, we're talking about none other than the talented Bo McMillan, my co-host. We're streaming to you from the NFL Alumni Media, raw and unfiltered. This is from my little home office. I'm going to tell you a little bit about the show. Let me tell you, I just want to run you through. And the last thing I'm going to do is give you my picks. But I did want to go live and start you off with what the show is going to be about. Of course, Bo's going to be there. All right. We're going to start with the under review. That's what we call it. This week it would be Nick Chubb. Here's the deal with the whole Nick Chubb thing. It's part of football. The Cleveland Browns built their offense around him. He's averaging 5.3 yards per carry. That's number 3 in the history of the entire National Football League. So they're going to have to kind of make up for it. Here's the good news about what just happened last Monday night. They've got a young man who in Jerome Ford who rushed for 106 yards against the Steelers. Hey, man, I played for the Browns 87, 89, and 90. I had been in my 11th year when I got traded to him. And Hanford Dixon sat next to me and said, hey, you've never been in a rivalry like this. He didn't lie. I had played for the Lions. I had played for the St. Louis Cardinals, not Arizona Cardinals, St. Louis Cardinals. And that rivalry, there's nothing like it. The Steelers, you saw them on Monday night. They come at you. So let's just get right to how I would approach it. I think it's unfair of Chris Sims from NBC to say that Minka Patrick is a dirty player. Let me give you a little insight. That's why I'm here. As a defensive player, somewhere along the line of after the national anthem, your light goes on. It could be your mama on the other side. And you're going to gang tackle. That's the way Nick Chubb runs. He's a power runner. I've seen him squat online 650 pounds. So there's nothing there. Where do you go from there? Well, the Browns did a smart thing. They brought in Kareem Hunt, signed him. He'd been there 4 years previous. There's no concern, Brown fans, to be worried about whether or not he had a down spend in his performance. All it was Chubb personality, took I'd say a front seat. He became the bell cow. So you don't want to take away reps in the game because Chubb wears you down. All power backs as the game goes on. In my day, it was a guy named Riggins. So we would talk about that. That's the big thing, the Nick Chubb injury. Secondly, we talk about Barkley. Barkley has a high ankle sprain. I'm not sure who Brian Daboll thought he was fooling by saying he could possibly play after he did it on Sunday, that he could possibly play on Thursday. Impossible. You only got 2 days to even walk through before Thursday's there. Joe Burrows, that calf injury, that's not his problem. They've got a conceptual problem. The way to think of an offense is defensively, you could be out of scheme. One guy can make the play. Offensively, one guy can offset the protection, whether it be a running back, tight end, or initial 5 linemen, or even if you got a receiver going in motion, or if you're going jumbo 3 tight ends, that'll throw it off. They've all got to be on the same page. Anthony Richardson for the Colts has a concussion. He's in the protocol. Good thing that they've done is they've taken it out of the hands of the teams and the players, because that boy be playing today. But He will not play today on Sunday. Today is obviously September 23rd, and it's week 3. I would mention the Giants, huge comeback against, I'm going to call them my Cardinals because I played for the St. Louis Cardinals from 83 to 86, but they're the Arizona Cardinals. Nothing's changed. Nothing's changed, man. It's a shame, but it's still the same. I'd mentioned the Hail Mary by the Denver Broncos. I did not like that 2-point conversion. Unfortunately, Russell Wilson taking the blunt of it. They're off in terms of their run block scheme. The Denver Broncos are known to be a great zone block team, but now all of a sudden they're doing this man on block and they don't have a run game. So if you don't have a run game, we'll talk about that a little later. You're not going to have a play action pass. That's one of the things that the Browns are going to find out without Chubb. You don't have a Chubb. Kareem Hunt and Ford can possibly, between the two of them, make up that 5.3 yard average. Where it makes the difference. Understand this about the game of football. 1st and 10. 1st and 10. You either get 3 yards on 1st and 10 or more, or all of a sudden you're in 2nd and long. That's a passing down. I don't care who you are. It's a passing down. Of course, 3rd and long is a passing down. No matter who you are, some of these people try to RPOs. 2nd and long, Al Bubba Baker's got his butt up in the air. I'm flying up the field. All right, we would take a break. I'd say you're watching the Bo and Bubba Food and Football Show. I'm Al Bubba Baker. That's Chef Bo Mac McMillan from the Food Network. We're streaming from the NFL media, raw and unfiltered. We'll be right back, but we're not going anywhere. All right, so here we are. Now we go to the second segment. I'd give you, I'm going to go to my notes now because I make little quick. I would go to Bubba's Big 5. It would be 5 games that I think impact the last picks that I made. I make 16 picks a week. Bo makes his 16 picks. Of course, we're competing. I don't know if Bo knows that. He's somewhere at the Food Network, so he probably didn't hear this. By the way, guys, coming to you live, you can go to us on YouTube. Just go look up the NFL Alumni Media.com and, of course, put in the Bo and Bubba Show, Food and Football. Again, we're live. So this is our tester. I'm telling you about the show here. For those of you who come in a little late, we're doing the Bubba's Big 5 games of the week. So we talked about the Browns. The score was 22-26 Steelers. Big thing was Nick Chubb. But more importantly, Deshaun Watson is out of sync. He's off by that much. He missed it by that much. I don't know if any of you guys are old enough to remember Maxwell Smart. Probably not. But anyway, he's off. Bringing Kareem Hunt in, they'll get the chance to throw the ball out of the backfield on 1st and 10, quick throw out of the backfield. That's the same as a handoff, similar to the old West Coast offense. Second thing, this is huge because I'm going to share something with you guys. Even though we're not doing the whole show, we're just kind of doing an overview. Vikings 24, Eagles 34. All right. Why is that a problem? If the Vikings go 0-3, even though they traded for Akers, all right, running back Fred Akers from the Rams, there's still going to be a question about can Kirk Cousins get them through. Why is that an issue? Well, it might have something to do with the word tanking. You'll see a lot of teams. There's a few of them. I'll name them for you. That's possibly looking at 0-3 this week. Think of it this way. You got Caleb Williams coming out of USC. say no more. You got Shedeur Sanders coming out as for the NFL for University of Colorado. And then you got this guy, Michael Penix from University of Washington. I think he's better than both. Michael Penix Jr. for the University of Washington. Got to go look this kid up. He's got an arm. He's got a touch. He's got command of the huddle. So then we would go to the 49ers. That was my number 3. 49ers 30, Rams 23. Cowboys 30, Jets 10. They exposed Zach Wilson. Now I would tie you in how the Vikings game matters to the Jets. The Vikings would go trade for Kirk Cousins, and the Vikings would load up on draft choices for 2024 so they can move up for Caleb Williams. See what I'm saying? That's why this is related. Number 4, the Cowboys 30, Jets 10. It wasn't even close. You know, it might as well have been 30-0. Zach Wilson is not the guy that's going to complete this puzzle that they put together. Then the Giants, awesome comeback. We would talk about that for some time. I want to remind you guys again, you can go to YouTube. You can like us, subscribe to it. It's you're looking at the NFL Alumni Media, raw and unfiltered. Look up the Bo and Bubba Show, Food and Football, and like us, subscribe to us. That's our page. That's our site. So now we would be doing our who's on the hot seat. Brandon Staley. He should have been on the hot seat for the LA Chargers. They got a new contract. Now, here is where the 0-3 comes into play. Since 1980, 43 years, the research says that any 0-3 team has a 3.4 chance of playing in the postseason. 3.4. Conversely, if you're 3-0, you have a 75.5% chance of being in postseason. That's where the word tank comes up. All right. So I'd take us out on another break. Bo would bring us back in. Then we come back and we do this thing that obviously I can't do by myself here. We call it the 2-minute drill. I've got 2 minutes. Bo would fire off questions to me like, best quarterback performance of last week? Well, it would have been Kirk Cousins. Best defensive performance? Steelers. What team surprised you the most and why? The Giants and their comeback. 3 teams you're buying, 3 teams you're selling after 2 weeks. And then what team has disappointed you the most? For me, it would be the Bengals. All right. And then it would be what Bo likes to do. He's call it flash in the pan, slow and low, meaning what teams would come up. Lastly, in the segment that we called 4th and goal, that's the last segment, I would do my picks. You guys ready for my picks? All right. So it doesn't really matter that the 49ers have already beat the Giants. There's no way the Giants had any chance without Saquon Barkley. Again, there's too much pressure put on Daniel Jones. Does Daniel Jones look like Jim Carrey, or is it just me? He just on the sideline. Okay, I digress. I got to tell you guys, I got ADHD. But when I was seeing him on the sideline, he had this look on his face, and he looked like Jim Carrey in just kind of that deer in the headlights. I mean, the poor guy, he looks like he's overwhelmed. I don't know. Maybe you guys don't feel that way. All right. So my Lions, who's the team I identify with, grateful, played 13 years in the NFL, 3 times Pro Bowl. I have the NFL sack season record held as a Lion of 23, not 22 and a half. Go back and check. I guess they call it unofficial. I guess because they weren't keeping the stat. And they don't even include me as a rookie. Where if I had 23 and 78 as a rookie, wouldn't that make you think that I had the most sacks as a rookie? Again, there goes my ADHD. Whew. All right, bringing it back. I'm going to go with the Lions this week, and I'll tell you why. It's going to be a real tough game, maybe even more difficult than the game against Seattle, which I thought if they would have kept the quarterback contained and never let him out, we wouldn't even be talking about this. Really, they would have gotten a sack. If they had played anywhere near like the Steelers played the Browns, lights out. The Lions would be looking at going for the 3-0 against the Falcons. But Falcons, it's not just Ritter and it's not just Biggio that makes this team. What makes the Falcons is they got a really good run game. They got a really good run game. They got a zone block run game, and they got the perfect running back who plants his foot, turns it up north and south. All right. Chargers are going to send the Vikings into the tank mode. I'm taking the Chargers. Saints versus Packers. I'm taking the Saints. I just think Saints go 3-0. Saints got a great defense. And I just think right now Jordan Love's going to kind of be like my man Deion Sanders ran into a buzzsaw last night. Wow. Boy, did he get an eye-opener. But I'm still a fan. I had a difficult time rooting against Colorado State, but I did anyway. I wish the man all the luck in the world. Boy, he's got confidence. Texans versus the Jaguars. I don't think C.J. Stroud is ready to bring his team back. He's figuring it out, and every week a defensive coordinator is going to show him something different. Taking the Jaguars. I love Trevor Lawrence. Go Jags. And I'm from Duval Colony, Jacksonville, Florida. Go Jags. Broncos versus Dolphins. I think the Dolphins may be the hottest team in the AFC. They are. No question about it. Tua Tagovailoa is lights out. Titans versus the Browns. Earlier in the week, I was going to take the Titans. But now that they have Kareem Hunt, he's going to be in the passing and the pass blocking program on second and long and third and long. They didn't sign Kareem Hunt to have him stand on the sideline. So he's going to be in the pass game for sure. He's a better route runner out of the backfield than Jerome Ford, who's in his second year. So he won't understand the blitz pickups, and he'll be overwhelmed with different Titan fronts that they'll have in front of them. All right, Mike Vrabel is really good at that. Bills versus the Commanders. The Bills right the ship here. I don't think the Commanders are for real. I love the fact that Eric Bieniemy is getting a chance, but just something about them. They just, I don't know, they just strike me as unstable as a offensive team. They just look like they struggle. You know what I mean? They have a hard time. Colts versus Ravens. Well, the Colts won't have Anthony Richardson, and so Gardner Minshew, puts on a yeoman's performance, but he's not an Anthony Richardson, so that's not going to save him. Ravens win. Patriots push the Jets over the edge. That makes the Jets organization have to go out and either get a free agent or, in the case of I said, when the Vikings go 0-3, trade, give away the farm for Kirk Cousins because they got everything else in place. Panthers versus Seahawks. Seahawks are good. That's my man. I played for him in 1988. He was a defensive assistant, Pete Carroll. competitor, tough guy, knows the game, and been around forever. Seahawks beat the Panthers. Again, the number one draft choice in Bryce Young. Good football player, but again, experienced defensive coordinator like a defensive mind like Pete Carroll. They'll show him too much. They'll show him all kinds of new coverages, disguise the coverages. Young man won't be able to. It'll all be new to him. That's what's going to happen to you as a rookie in the NFL. Steelers versus the Raiders. I'm taking the Steelers. I think they found something last week. 2 defensive touchdowns. And like I said, there's nothing like the Steelers. The Steelers have had the same system since my days. First time I played against the Steelers regularly in the conference was 1987. They are still the same. They still draft for position. They still play the same front. They still have essentially a steel curtain. They come at you from all different places. And by the way, they got this guy over there by the name of TJ Watt, who's leading the league, tied with 4 sacks. Good football player, but he doesn't have the tie for the lead in sacks in the single season. I do with 23. I think I said that already. All right. So Monday night, Eagles versus Buccaneers. This would go under my title of another team that is 2-0, but I'm just not believing it. That's because the Buccaneers are led by Baker Mayfield. I've seen him in Cleveland. I watched him closely there. My family's there. Hey, y'all. Hey, Browns fans. Baker Mayfield will implode against the Steelers. When he gets behind, the worst of him will come out. Baker Mayfield doesn't handle criticism very well, and neither does his wife, Emily. She loves Twitter. It's the death of them. Lastly, Rams versus Bengals, and Joe Cool snaps his losing streak, and they play well. They win. And this is where I would say to you all, thank you all for hanging out with us on the Bo and Bubba Show, Food and Football. I'm Al Bubba Baker, and that's my man. He beat Bobby Flay, Bo McMillan of the Food Network. See you guys around the Smokehouse next time. We're streaming from the NFL Alumni Media, raw and unfiltered. And this is what I'd say. Later. Signing off, guys. Thanks a lot. Remember, go to the YouTube, like us, subscribe to us. Go to NFLalumnimedia.com. Check us out on YouTube. You can go to the NFLalumnimedia.com and see us and click on the Bo and Bubba Show. So you got 2 different sources. Like us, subscribe, and I'll see you next week with my man Bo. He'll be back in town. Remember, it's the Bo and Bubba Show, Food and Football, streaming to you from the NFL Alumni Media, raw and unfiltered.